Irish Guy, and football hipsters are the scourge of the planet. Right now, I know they are sitting at home, nibbling on vegan donuts, and giggling with glee because they've tipped Romania's Nicola Stancia to win the Euro 2024 Golden Boot. Sitting there in their avocado cookie-stained t-shirts, cheering on Georgia's golden generation, and asking their mum if she'd like to watch Scott Pilgrim after the Albania match. Well, today I'm going to take a look at every Premier League club and grade the last hipster move they made. Because, lads, we're all guilty of going hipster every now and then. I'll admit it. I once tapped my foot to a Mumford & Sons song. I deserve prison time for that. Right, let's go. Arsenal, Jakub Kiwior, C+. Look, Arsenal seem like such a mainstream London club. I mean, you wouldn't really expect them to have any hipster habits. It would be like seeing an extremely mainstream celebrity like Michael Bublé suddenly buying shoes off the internet that are made out of badger feet and cheese. But yes, the Arsenal transfer committee briefly had an extremely hipster moment when they located a young Polish defender, Jakub Kiwior, last year. Somebody whose career consisted of games for Zelaziarny Podbrezova, Zelina, and finally, Spezia in Italy. Look, okay, Spezia wasn't actually as obscure as they sound. I know, you'd expect them to be a tiny little village team on the outskirts of Bologna. You'd assume their squad gets paid in nothing but free lasagna, and Kiwior's manager was just some mustache-twirling uni graduate who lives off nothing but vegan milk and packets of Monster Munch. Nope. Spezia were actually in Serie A, and Kiwior's boss had played for European giants like Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan, PSG, and is now the manager of Juventus. You don't get more mainstream than that. But yeah, this £20 million transfer deal looked very hipster and outside the box, and he's actually been a very decent versatile squad player. Like Arsenal's modern day answer to John O'Shea, yeah, I'll give him a C+. Aston Villa, Nicolo Zaniolo, D. Am I the only one who naturally assumes that Nicolo Zaniolo is one of the poster boys for hipsters worldwide? As we speak, I just know that somebody at Football Daily has a large creepy painting of him on his bedroom wall. I mean, to be fair, I can't say much. I've got one of the Football Daily guys on my wall. So what if I try to spoon feed Joe Tomlinson Weetabix bits before bed? That's my business, not yours. But look, Zaniolo is a 24-year-old Italian winger who, weirdly, his mainstream Inter Milan career consisted of just one preseason friendly in 2017. Oh, you don't get more obscure than that. It's like somebody winning the X Factor and then just choosing to release an album of them coughing once. He was a flair player at Virtus Stella, something which sounds like a Harry Potter spell. He was Roma's secret weapon after they sold Salah to Liverpool. He scored the first ever winning goal in the Europa Conference League final. He soaked up some Turkish football with Galatasaray before he was even 25. Sorry, what player of Zaniolo's freakish talent decides to move to Turkey in their early 20s? It's about as weird as choosing to watch the Matrix trilogy while standing on your head. Zaniolo is the sort of troubled European talent that football hipsters would have gladly gassed up on Twitter to make themselves seem clever and cool. I mean, Bournemouth tried to buy him too, and that just stunk of when they signed Roma's Paraguayan started Juan Iturbe nearly 10 years ago. Hipster Central. Anyway, Zaniolo rocked up alone to Aston Villa with many an Alfie squealing like a hyperactive pig, and he's been 3 goals and no assists in 40 games. Really? He's not staying. He's on the verge of a move to Atalanta. I don't think any Villa fan is bothered. Bournemouth, Roman Fav, E. Oh, those football hipsters love this one.
Big fan of Leon signing Brest, Roman Fav, Lo Celso and Fav for Guimaraes isn't a disaster.
I feel like scratching my eyeball with a fork. This says it all. Leon choosing to sell a serious, almost world-class talent like Bruno Guimaraes to Newcastle, and apparently replacing him with Giovanni Lo Celso and Roman Fav. That would have been a good move. Nah, Lo Celso never went to France and remains a Tottenham bench warmer who gets given just 5 to 10 minute cameos at the end of the game if he's lucky. Whilst Fav did go to Lyon and was then sold to Bournemouth after a year. Of course this kid's hipster. When you look on his Wikipedia page, the whole thing is in French. Yeah, my French teacher hated me at school, probably because I used to lick yogurt off my desk. I was a strange child. I chuck Fav into the same category of sultry, frustrating French midfielders who people wanted to compare to Zidane at an early age, but who then were just very meh. To me, this man screams Johan Gourcuff. Another young French midfielder who played for Rennes, AC Milan, Bordeaux, and Lyon in the 2000s. He was the next Zizou. Right now, his career is a bit of a sludge. He won the Champions League with AC Milan as a kid, and then got a Miracle League title win with Bordeaux. But let's be real, he's about as memorable as a bowl of dirt. And sadly, apparently he was bullied by his own teammates when away with France. Why do I get the feeling that Ribéry's a horrible bloke? Fav is similarly not going to reach those levels either. And so far for Bournemouth, 0 starts, just 37 minutes under his belt since returning from his Lorient loan in January. It doesn't look good. I'm going to have to give him an E. Brentford, Keane Lewis Potter, D. Even Keane Lewis Potter a hipster player? Well, yes. This winger was born and bred in Hull. But of course, there's no such thing as football hipsters in Hull, right? Right? Nobody in that town chooses to spend their Saturday nights reading about Romanian coaches introducing inverted fullbacks in the 40s. Right? Look, Lewis Potter already sounds like a hipster. His name sounds like it belongs to the Roald Dahl book. Come on, who has Keane as a first name? Anyway, Brentford signed this championship goal-scoring winger for £16 million and 4 goals in 47 games for the Bees so far. He works hard, he's a busy bumblebee on the wing, but meh. Brighton, Fabian Hürzeler, F. Arguably the most hipster move in the list. Is anyone surprised? Brighton and Hove Albion have just appointed Fabian Hürzeler, and it's not enough that he's just been dragged in from St. Pauli, the literal mothership for hipsters worldwide. Literally, I'm guessing with every season ticket, you're probably also given a complimentary pair of pink skinny jeans and a Joseph Gordon-Levitt DVD. It's not just that he's coming from this German hipster village. Oh no, what makes him even more wacky is that he's 31! 31 years old! 31! He's as old as the guys in the Sidemen. James Milner literally has to spend next season taking orders from somebody who is 9 years of age when he's making his Premier League debut. This is a failed Bayern Munich midfielder who was born somewhere in the German mountains, right? Nah. Guess where he was born? Just guess. Texas. I mean, thankfully he didn't grow up in Texas, or he'll probably be bullied for daring to read a book on the bus. Managers are getting younger and younger. 31, the youngest Premier League boss of all time. He was still a teenager when Chelsea won the first ever Champions League. I mean, when Liverpool won the greatest Champions League final of all time, this fella was still yet to kiss a girl. Brighton's last 3 managers have coached the likes of Östersund, Darfo Barrio, and now FC Pippensried. Yuck! For that alone, I'm giving this inexperienced chump an F. Chelsea, Mikhailo Mudryk, F. Lads, before Todd Bowley came to town, Chelsea were usually mainstream shoppers. Absolutely. They only really went hipster once or twice. For the likes of Marco Marine, Marco van Ginkel, and does anyone remember Asia Del Horno? By now, Mikhailo Mudryk was the epitome of risky hipster buy. An obscure blonde winger who played less than 50 games for Shakhtar Donetsk and was now at the centre of a tug-of-war between Arsenal and Chelsea. Look, Mudryk was the sort of player that excitable geeks on the internet would have raved over, purely so they could boast all their mates about how they had discovered the next Pavel Nedved. Everybody getting wheezy because they saw him belt a wonder goal past Celtic in the Champions League. So, Chelsea were stupid enough to take the bait, and for close to 100 million euros. When really, Mudryk should have been a £20 million buy for someone like Brighton. I mean, this is somebody who would have rounded up the likes of Swansea City 10 years ago. Not at Chelsea. And yeah, his end product has been garbage. 7 goals and 4 assists in 58 games. Sorry, but Chelsea fans are probably hoping that this M&M does make like Houdini and disappears. Crystal Palace, Oliver Glasner, A+. Look, maybe I'm being mean to call Oliver Glasner the hipster coach, but I mean, I think considering he should be offered the Bayern Munich job recently, would lean towards maybe he isn't. Although, to be fair, the Bavarians did also offer the job to Ralph Rangnick, and I don't care, you can give that guy the most mainstream makeover of all time. Give him a sleeve tattoo and a fade 1 haircut. You can literally dunk him into a swimming pool filled with Levi's t-shirts, earpods, and Big Bang DVDs. It's still not washing the hipster DNA off that guy. Oliver Glasner he was that bloke in his 40s who'd actually begun his managerial career by begging Ralph Rangnick for a job at Red Bull Salzburg in 2012. He's somebody who worked miracles at LASK in Austria, took Wolfsburg into the Champions League, won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. This is an interesting man, and lads, his impact at Crystal Palace has been surreal. Arriving in the middle of a relegation battle, he ended the season by winning 6 of the final 7 league games to finish 10th. So far, Glasner, A+. Everton, Yusuf Trimiti, E. Yeah, here we have Everton's young striker Yusuf Trimiti, who I just know would have caused football hipsters everywhere to scream like pregnant cheerleaders when Everton bought him for €12 million last summer.
Oh, trust me, you've got the steal of the century. He was absolutely electric at Sporting Lisbon Trust.
He wasn't. 3 goals in 23 games. This is a young Portuguese kid who actually came through the academy of ACF Pauleta. Yeah, an academy named after that Portuguese centre-forward legend Pauleta, who banged in goals for PSG before they were rich. He was like PSG's Sean Goder, but having an academy named after a footballer, it always looks weird to me. I also thought it was strange that Antonio Onana came through the Samuel Eto'o Academy. I don't know, it sounds a little creepy. I mean, does every child turn up to training with an Eto'o lunch box? Is there a portrait of him in the changing room that they have to kiss before every penalty-taking session? Anyway, Trimiti is only 20 sure, but just 209 Premier League minutes last season. And obviously, no goals. E. Fulham Sasa Lukic D. Yeah, here we have Fulham getting in the hands an exciting Serbian player who controlled the midfield for Torino for 7 years. Yeah, he rocked up at Craven Cottage 18 months ago, and he's just a squad player, really. Just sort of meh. Next, Ipswich Town, Kieran McKenna, A+. Was this a hipster move? Was it really? Or was it just one of these desperate risks? Ironically, maybe Ipswich Town choosing to give a 5-year deal to Paul Lambert. That was kind of hipster. I mean, you could spin the narrative that he's a former Livingston, Wickham and Colchester manager who just so happened to mark Zidane out of a Champions League final, was playing for what was very much a European hipster favourite like Borussia Dortmund. But now, he was unfortunately incredibly mainstream by the time he rocked up at Ipswich Town. But Kieran McKenna, he was just some coach in his mid-30s who had managed Tottenham under-18s and Man United under-18s. This one was a risk. It would have been like a League One team giving a managerial job to Ryan Mason or Nicky Butt. Yeah, I'm gonna say this was a hipster move. And, well, 2 promotions in a row later, it's paid off handsomely. Leicester City, Steffi Mavididi, B+. Yeah, this is a monster hipster shout from Leicester City. Steffi Mavididi was that sort of weird name that English hipsters wanted to shout about whenever people wanted to predict the England team in 5 years' time. Oh yeah, they choose this guy to seem clever. He was the next Serge Gnabry, don't you know? An Arsenal Academy reject who was ripping it up abroad. I mean, to be fair, Mavididi only played once for Juventus, but he did well on loan at Dijon in France, and then he scored over 20 goals in less than 100 games for Montpellier. That's what made football hipsters really sit up and take notice.
Oh, lads, Gareth Southgate needs to swat up on Montpellier games. He's doing Mavididi a disservice.
Yeah, it's like when football hipsters wanted Leon Bailey in the England squad for the 2018 World Cup. Anyway, Mavididi went to Leicester, and with most hipsters tipping him to be the next Riyad Mahrez, to validate them all having gassed him up on Facebook for the last 5 years, well, to be fair, he's been good. 13 goals and 6 assists, producing absolute star quality in the championship. Well done, hipsters. He's been great. Liverpool, Wataru Endo, B+. Look, Artie Slot is quite a hipster appointment, but I'm actually going to go with Liverpool pitching Stuttgart's Japanese midfielder, defensive midfielder Wataru Endo last summer. Something nobody would have seen coming. Literally, one of the most random Liverpool deals of all time. Up there with when they bought PSV's Jan Kromkamp. It's not even like Endo was young either. He was 30 years old and about as famous as a dead mouse. This is somebody who was competing in the Olympics at 28. 5 years ago, he was playing in Belgium with Saint-Trodin. I mean, he's formerly of Shonan Belmer. Does that make him the Fresh Prince? He was playing for Urawa Red Diamonds when he was already an old man at 26. He was a massive late bloomer, but he's been a quality Liverpool buy. Played way more games than anybody thought. 44 games last season. Popped up with some crucial goals. Yeah, I'll give him a B+. Man City, Claudio Echeverri, not applicable. When was the last time Man City went hipster? Maybe signing 18-year-old Argentine wonder kid Claudio Echeverri after just a handful of games for River Plate. Yeah, that's sort of hipster, and he hasn't played for City yet, so I can't give him a grade yet. Next, Man United, Ralph Rangnick D. Have Manchester United ever gone more hipster than appointing Ralph Rangnick as interim boss, who is the godfather of European football hipsters? He is to them what Marcelo Bielsa is to the South American nerds. A Bundesliga journeyman, somebody who took Schalke 04 to a Champions League semi-final. He is the professor of German football. Yeah, he rocks with Manchester United, a job that was way too mainstream for a guy like him. It was the equivalent of casting Michael Cera as the next James Bond. No! This is somebody who had no impact at Old Trafford. He had 29 games in charge and failed to win 18 of them. A 37% win record, the lowest of his entire career by far. He was only there 6 months and still managed to squeeze in 2 4-0 defeats to Liverpool and Crystal Palace and a 4-1 battering by Man City too. Literally zero impact. The one thing I remember from Rangnick's time at Manchester United was him breaking Jay Lings' soul by refusing to give him a farewell match. That's literally it. That's your legacy. You make Jay Lings cry. Now he's back in much more familiar hipster surroundings as manager of Austria. That is a far more natural environment for Ralph, instead of arguably the biggest club in the world. Honestly, but I've seen De Zerbi at Real Madrid, or even Bielsa at Barcelona. Wouldn't look right. Newcastle, Yankuba Minte, not applicable. Well, Newcastle went hipster twice in 2023, snapping up Australian striker Gareth Cowell from the Central Coast Mariners, and also Gambian winger Yankuba Minte from Odense Bolt Club in Denmark. Yeah, let's concentrate on Minte. A £7 million signing from Denmark, and so far, he's yet to make his Newcastle debut, but he did just tear it up. On loan in the Eredivisie with 11 goals for Feyenoord. Again, he hasn't played for Newcastle yet, so this is another non-grade, but the signs look good. Nottingham Forest, Odiasis Vlachodimos F. You don't get more hipster than this. Nottingham Forest choosing to sign Benfica goalkeeper Odiasis Vlachodimos last year. This is somebody who sounds like he belongs in the Disney movie Hercules. He's been a solid shot stopper in Portugal for the last 5 years, but he goes to Forest, and aside from a run of 5 games over Christmas last season, where Forest lost 4 of those games, he hasn't been in the team and was left out of the squad entirely after February. Let's be real. He's been a disaster. A Greek goalie who nobody will ever remember was even in the Premier League. I mean, Portsmouth's Kostas Chalkias. Anyone remember him? Anyone? He's 50 years old, and nobody but me remembers that he ever had 5 games as a Premier League goalie. Same fadeaways Vlachodimos too. Southampton Shea Charles C+. Yeah, Southampton probably thought they were being really clever tying up a £10 million deal for Manchester City's teenage midfielder Shea Charles last summer. Somebody who was an academy baller who would only be given 27 minutes of senior men's football against Brentford on the final day over a year ago. He went to the Saints and was decent. He played 38 games. Wasn't a starter at all really after Christmas. In fact, he barely played in the promotion run-in. His only 90 minutes of championship football in 2024 was in a 5-0 disaster defeat at Leicester City. Ouch. So there is much to improve on, but signs are okay. Yeah, C+. Tottenham Guglielmo Vicario A. Who saw Tottenham eventually replacing Hugo Lloris, a world champion with nearly 500 games under his belt for Spurs, somebody who was France's most capped player of all time. Who saw them replacing him with some greasy string B from Empoli, someone who had been an Italian lower league journeyman for Udinese, Fontanafredda, Venezia, Cagliari, Perugia. His CV reads like an ingredient list for spaghetti bolognese, but he's been great. West Ham, Konstantinos Mavropanos C. July 2020. This was me.
Konstantinos Mavropanos. That's a footballer whose name you'll never hear again after this tweet.
I was wrong, because West Ham decided to go hipster and dig up this ex-Arsenal misfit centre-half and actually bring him back from the wilderness at Stuttgart. I mean, considering that German club are now in the Champions League, this big Greek giant probably wishes he had stayed. Anyway, for West Ham, he's been fine. Wolves, John Rickner Bellegarde D. This is clearly a hipster buy. Wolves decided to go out there and buy a midfielder barely any mainstream football fan had ever heard of, paying £12 million last summer for a 24-year-old John Rickner Bellegarde, buying him from Strasbourg in France. Yeah, he was sent off in just his second Wolves match. It's been a patchy debut season. He's been in and out of Gary O'Neill's team. He's lost 11 of the 22 Premier League games he's played. That is a 50% fail. So, just a D, I guess. Anyway, that's the video. What do you think? What has been the biggest hipster buy you have made? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.